Oh, there's also a lunch dude. So we got dude lunch and then lunch dude.
Oh man!
How many followers does he have?
He has 3 subscribers, 3 videos. We have 5 and 5.
Whoop, whoop. Bastard.
I think maybe 4 of the subscribers are in this room.
I just got the
Who
notification.
am I kidding? They're not subscribed.
I don't think I am subscribed.
Blow it out.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Dude Lunch. I think we're live.
Dude lunch.
I'm not positive. Today we are joined, I'm going to let her introduce herself. We are joined by an amazing, she's doing some amazing things.
We're live.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, confirm.
Have we ever done an intro like that?
No. Usually I just sneak it on and then I'm like, we're live by the way, guys.
Mid-sentence.
Anyway, Kat, if you want to.
Tell us about yourself.
Oh, I feel like I'm breaking the rules because it's no longer dude lunch.
So we use
The rules have been
dude.
broken before.
Dude is very.
It's a gender agnostic term.
Okay,
It's a very
okay.
inclusive term.
I'm dude.
Yeah.
Inclusive. Okay, good.
Yeah. This is you, I think.
Homie lunch.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, are there rules to be broken?
Okay.
I think they've already. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
I
had
don't think there are rules.
multiple
Anyway,
guest
There's
Talk over them. You can
This might
introduce
be the
yourself.
earliest we have gone off the rails. So.
There's no commandments.
So I should introduce myself.
Sure.
I'm Kat, and I founded a website called musictherapyed.com.
She did. Cat's a big deal.
For 8,000 people. 8,000 people know who I am.
I get
I'm
it,
really
yeah.
lucky. Really lucky. There are
More than
8,000
me.
music therapists in the United States who are board certified, and that's my trade. I started out as a music therapist. Driving to every corner of San Diego County, lugging my drums and my guitars
Yeah.
and everything, and like helping Alzheimer's patients connect with their families on a deeper level. And I still have one contract from my practice that I sold a couple years ago. It is Sharp Coronado, and so any music therapist you might see there, I'm their boss. I'm
Oh,
lucky.
cool.
And so I got really burnt out, and I had to figure out another way, and I Googled music therapy blog in 2009, and there were 3 of them, so I started the 4th blog.
Yeah.
And and then that's when I gained my readership, and then a couple years later in 2012 we launched musictherapyed.com, and it was a smashing success when I finally learned that I had to give limited time promotions. And when I finally learned that in 2013, then I realized, whoa, I gotta stop doing my practice. I gotta stop doing the music therapy and start working on the website. So
And then you finally sold it like a year or 2 years ago now?
2017.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago. Yeah.
What a badass.
Finally got it off my hands, and someone else is loving on it and loving all those. I still have. There was this guy. I'll just call him Jim, but he was my favorite patient that I saw, and he marketed our drum classes for me in his retirement community. And he went around like knocking on everybody's doors.
Hey,
like,
Cat's coming. Yeah.
he was my favorite, and I even saw him in the very end when he made it to like skilled nursing, and he's like really bedbound, and I remember like singing songs with him even at that point, and it was so special. So I have amazing, like, meaningful, incomparable experiences from practicing.
I think that's so. Like that is obviously your experience, and it makes total sense for your space. But I think that's so true for, like, I don't know. Is it the E-Myth book where like you get into this business because you're passionate about this business, and then you wind up like doing the things that are required of you to run that business, and you're no longer doing like the craft that like you were called to originally, right?
Oh my gosh, I am the classic example for E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. I'm
but
classic.
I guess where I was going is that like it has to work that way, because that connection you have with like the people for whom your like craft is impactful or meaningful is what like drives you once you're like, the further you get from that, like you need something that reminds you of like, hey, here's why I'm doing this payroll or whatever the other components are, because that's the non-sexy part, right?
Yeah, the purpose and the meaning, for sure.
And then the fun part.
The not fun part, exactly. Yep. So
We also have another guest here today. I don't know if you guys can see or hear Gus. He is a representative of the Rover app, my semi-professional dog sitting hustle.
Yeah.
I don't want to brag, but things are going pretty well there.
I don't know how how they would see Gus. He's
He's
a
no,
little
he's
bit
way down. I'm
challenged
trying
on
to
the
get.
height front.
Oh no, they
That's
can
true.
see his face.
Height
He's over
challenge.
here, guys.
Yeah.
He was up on the couch.
Well, I was just sort of foreshadowing that they may hear him at some point.
Yeah,
He's a
if
vocal
I
one.
stop, yeah, there we
there
go.
you go.
There's an appearance.
Cool. Do we have a topic lined up? Should we jump? Kat had a couple bullet points.
Yeah.
There he is. What's up, Gus?
I got nothing.
Yeah,
Great.
Kat, I think.
Free flowing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, should we start with like incorporating texting into your marketing, into your CRM stuff, or should we? That's what
That's a great place to start.
or. Hi. Oh, there he is. Now everybody can see.
That's a great place to start. Hi.
Great, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you.
So do you have a question like technically or like strategically or just like,
Strategically.
hey, texting, how's that whole gambit work?
Yeah.
Well, kind of strategic, and also, so I have a texting, I have a
Tool?
texting
Yeah,
service.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't sign up for like Twilio or one of the sexy ones that work with Infusionsoft.
Okay.
That or the ones that are spoken of at SuccessCon and so forth.
Yeah.
But so the Plus This guys told me, hey, we'll just talk to your provider and say, hey, are they connected with Twilio? Are they under the world domination umbrella of
Yeah,
Twilio?
right.
And so I asked them, and the guy said no. And I said, well, I want my texting service to do this thing where, see, currently, when someone texts me, when I capture a lead, then automatically they get something from you that says, hey, okay, great, so fill out this form so I know what to call you and what your email is. And so then they have to click on a form that takes them out of the texting. And then so often
Rather than just reply. And
so
like,
oftentimes
yeah.
I don't get people filling out that form, and so the guy who's in charge of my texting service, I showed him what I want it to do, and he said, that's very brittle. That's so brittle. And so I said, brittle? And he said, there are so many chances for it to not work. Like if someone texts back an emoji or an image or da-da-da-da-da, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, but it's a much better user experience, right? I would rather stay in the texting app
Totally.
than like, and I've had so many people just not fill out the form because I'm not going to fill out a form if you text me a form. I mean, I'm just lazy like that, right? So.
Hey, go take a break, Gats. Relax.
So I guess my question is about user experience, or what your opinions are of that, or do you guys not even do texting because you think it's too invasive? I don't know. I've been doing it. Actually, I sent a Starbucks free drink code to 300 of our VIPs, and they gladly accepted it. I got
Yeah, right?
great results
Yeah.
from that.
It's like what Greg said. If you knock on somebody's door and offer them $100, no one's going to be upset about that.
Yeah.
You know?
There was more. It was
Yeah,
a more
it was-
profound example
It was
than
meant.
was
It was
represented
meant
by
for something
that.
else, but it works.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
It
yeah.
works.
Hey, guys.
Okay. Okay, I'll just scratch you and then you'll be quiet.
Everybody relax.
I think text messaging is huge.
Yeah.
I think absolutely, if you can make it work. But I think also the experience. It's not surprising that somebody who wrote a text messaging program would call it brittle, because it is. Like, that's the truth, is that there are a lot of things that can go wrong. But what I found is that the more things go right than go wrong because of that. Right? And the experience is night and day difference.
Well, you have to balance what what the two options are, which neither option is perfect, right? Which is,
Right.
would you prefer to have a more organic texting experience where more mistakes can happen, or would you prefer to have a more what's the word that I'm looking for in a sterile form filling out experience? And I think that you in your gut have the answer to that. So I think you need to move towards that, especially because you know your audience and what they're going to do. And by the way, in the quality of text and questions that you ask, you can do a lot of tactful wordplay and choice. Like, we use texting to capture leads from stage, and the way that we craft the texting questions are, could you please reply yes or no? Or, you could give leading indicators in the way that you ask the questions, so that you're now taking a percentage of human error and you're dwindling down to almost nothing, based on leading them down a certain path to the answer. So for you, I don't know what the questions are, but I have a feeling if we looked at the questions, we could get the answers you need by pulling them down a certain path of answer. As well.
And the truth is, with most systems, you can inspect the response and then create some sort of can someone look at this? because I don't know if this is the right thing that they were supposed to send back or design it. Most of the tools, I know Fix Your Funnel works this way, and I think even Plus This Conversations, if they don't respond with something that fits what
Right.
the question type is, it'll say, sorry, I didn't understand. Can you give me just the whatever it is? Which actually, Greg's talked about in the past, we talked about messenger bots, Facebook messenger bots, and Greg said, I would like to just call out the fact that we were talking about making it human versus like acknowledging that it's a robot. And it's the same thing. It's text message. Sorry, I didn't get what that was. Can you respond with just the email address or whatever? You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
kind of
hey,
stuff.
I'm just a dumb bot. Use single word responses, please.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Yeah.
a way to do it that sets your customers up for success. Because at the end of the day, I don't feel like really being disingenuous is what any of us are after. You want to create an experience that's easy and serves your customers. And so if they go, if they break one of those like automation rules, it should be easy enough to account for that and say, hey, just so we're on the same page, like, you're dealing with Catbot, and I was set up by Cat, and and these words were written by her, but hey, I'm doing her job. I'm doing her job because she's everywhere or whatever. I feel like SMS as like, so first of all, I don't use it in my business, and that's not like a blanket rule. I'm just kind of late to the game on that. I'm warming to the idea. But SMS at large is just another medium,
Yes.
right? It's just another communication channel. And so, like email or messenger bots, you just need to figure out what role it's going to play, and then what experience you want to create, and then choose the tool that best facilitates that. And it sounds like you had it in the wrong order. You've got this tool, and you're like, cool, how can I, what experience can that create? And then will it do the job that I want? And it just doesn't work that way as well.
Yeah, so now I'm kind of stuck because I
Are you
wanna
married to
change
that tool? Yeah.
well, no, I'm not, but I am. But I would love to be married to my number because everybody there are
I see.
almost 1,000 people with my number in their phone now.
I don't know if you can port numbers easily for that. I imagine it's
You
provider
can.
based.
They have to give it up. Your current provider has to
They
give
have
it
to
up,
give it up.
which they, I would imagine, would hold over your head. It's like,
Yeah.
you can't leave.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
that
wondering if
that
that's,
serves them
like,
for
Yeah,
sure.
that's-
When I was asking him about it, he seemed a bit defensive, and I don't know if I was reading into. I don't know if that's just me projecting or reading it, or
Yeah.
reading it the wrong way or whatever. But I wonder if he was wondering if I would ask for them to give it up.
Right.
But yeah, so, I gotta think about this.
And the thing is, I think there's a lot there too, because there are some tools designed specifically to solve this problem. Like the Plus This one is good mostly as an extension of Infusionsoft. Fix Your Funnel is probably a little bit more functional, less well designed.
Okay.
It's not difficult to use, but it's like they've put more energy into development and less into design, which is fine. There's another app called Sales Message, and in full disclosure, he's a client of mine, so. But it's the same thing. It's designed for that. It plugs into Zapier. It plugs straight into Infusionsoft, and you can do in fact, I've just been setting up instructional videos for him on how it all works, and it's like it just came out with a new app for phone. So it's like, sometimes you gotta weigh the value of having the number and keeping the number, and maybe having an awkward conversation about, can I take this from you or what, and weigh that against the value of being able to actually do it and create that experience, long term. The other thing too is you may not be that far away from doing more work to modify the experience of filling out a mobile form. Because even though they're moving from app to app, it's not, you can have the form submit some information, and then if that, that can go back to tech. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with deep linking to send people back to the other app. So it just depends, it's like, where do you want to put your energy? Because everything is possible. It's just a matter of.
I also don't think filling out a form is like a terrible experience if it's understood that hey, this is the role this form plays, So
Unless it's like a
if it's
long form with a bunch of dates and
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of like the context of what it's leading to, and kind of how the best way to get that.
How important is it for?
Yeah, because a lot of times I would rather just fill out a form than sit through a 20-question text back and forth. It's like, I just want to do this and send it. I don't want to
Especially when you
wait
know
for the
it's leading
response
you
and
somewhere,
yeah,
you're
just
like, all right.
come on.
Can I just press 9 for an operator?
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, we all think that way because we know we see that there's something coming afterwards. I feel like a lot of times with customers it's not quite that obvious. But we actually, I had incredible success on completion rates when I was using messenger bots, because Facebook, I don't know what questions you're asking, but Facebook has all that data ready for them to answer. So you ask a question, Facebook's like, this is the answer that you probably want to send back, right? And they just beep, and then it sends it. So you don't have to worry about them typing the wrong thing in or adding something extra, because it gives them the options. And even you can craft the conversation with specific answers to the questions. It's just, when you get free form, that becomes a problem. So that might be something also. It's not quite as elegant to have somebody start a messenger bot conversation, but it's actually not that much less elegant than just sending a text message.
So I don't know, maybe at a higher level, the question I would ask is like, what are we losing by not having it connected directly to, if Infusionsoft is like your CRM and is your hub, there are enough tools that work with Infusionsoft. The benefit to staying with yours had better, if it doesn't connect directly, had better be worth what you're missing, which is data in different places, right?
Well, the interesting thing is, so I haven't tried yet, but I do know that my current texting service connects to Zapier. So
there you go.
Is it?
Yeah.
So
Then you're gold.
I'm gold. Okay, I'm gold. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay, done. Okay, conversation over.
No, I mean, that's the answer. Is like with any, and it's not just your tool. I'm trying to like zoom out on this for anyone.
Sure.
Is like the more variables you have in your equation, the more like vulnerability there is. But Zapier, I think, is a necessary component for any tech stack just because of its versatility. Yeah. We've talked about this. It was a couple months ago. Kat was able to get rid of a subscription she had to WebMerge or some tool because she realized with Zapier and Google Slides she could create with the certificates that she was after.
Well, because you taught me, Guru.
So yeah, I mean,
master.
and Kelsey Bratcher taught me. Like it's just this like I don't know, tribal knowledge.
It's the love.
Right, but that's what I guess that's what I'm saying is like the more things can connect, the more you'll find that they're able to like serve one another. And so if something doesn't play nice with the rest of your tools, like to me that's a red flag. Like if it works in isolation, that's great, but it's only as powerful as it is on its own, whereas anything that connects to Zapier is immediately 1,000 times more powerful because Zapier has over 1,000 connections or whatever, right? So if you're selecting a tool from scratch, I guess that's a big consideration. Is like, where will I need this tool to pass data or receive data from?
Yeah. Well, after SuccessCon. Well, I feel like I'm still in the honeymoon phase after SuccessCon. Because I had never been to Icon or SuccessCon, even though I've been an Infusionsoft user since 2012. But I'd never been, and so like opting into all these text things, and I'm like, oh wow, they're asking me my name in the app. I don't have to leave Messenger, my
SMS.
SMS. I feel like I'm still honeymooning over that. I'm like, wow, I didn't know you could do that. You don't have to fill out a form. That's kind of cool. So so I'm hearing you about like, is it like the user experience? Is it that big of a deal, you guys? Is it that big of a deal to go fill out a form if you just need two fields entered? And
what do people complain about it? Like, how much of this problem is like Kat creating it, seeing that there's what you perceive to be a more frictionless route, or how much of it is people going, hey, this is either verbally saying like this isn't easy for me, or there's a big drop off there from what you perceive should be happening?
Well, I would say that there's about 2% of opt-ins who don't fill out the form. 2%, like 2 out of every 100 or something.
That feels pretty good.
So it's not bad.
Yeah,
okay, not bad. Oh, what am I complaining
You're
about?
doing great.
But my industry is so small. And oh my gosh, why didn't they fill? So I'm just like,
out of curiosity,
know them. I
do you
probably
know
know them, but I don't. All I have is their number.
What kind of open rates do you get on email? Just out of curiosity, because my understanding is that you have a pretty strong connection with your audience.
Well, it depends on what I'm sending out, but I mean, oftentimes I think around 40% or so.
That's great.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's
but it's because I know everybody personally,
I get it. Yeah.
And yeah.
That's the range I'm in.
You owe it by email.
That's the range I'm in, and people like marvel at it. They're like 40% open rates, and it's because you're a human and you allow yourself to be, personal, and there's, a personality behind the brand, and people feel a sense of connection, and yeah, so good on you.
I think it kind of dipped though when I started pulling my face out of my
Yeah.
company a little bit, because well, there's the point where you have to figure out like. I think for me, there was a point where I had to figure out like, do I want this company to have my face all over it, or do I want it to be something else that's going to live on beyond my years? And so I'm coming back to putting my face back into it, because
That's a great conversation on its own.
They kept saying at SuccessCon, your customers are jaded and overwhelmed with their inbox and whatever. They kept saying that over and over, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can feel that. I don't know if jaded is the right word, but I can definitely feel like less connection than when my face was all over everything. So yeah, so I'm coming back.
Gats. Hey.
I think it just speaks back to the fact that people want to talk to people.
I know.
You know what I mean? And when they're connected to somebody or
it's hard
particular
being
brand.
on camera. Buddy.
Like Greg, Greg never emails me. Because if he needs something from me, he'll just text me or send me a Facebook message, right? So I know this, and yet anytime I see an email in my inbox or even in promotions or whatever from Greg, I open it because I'm like, it's from Greg, because there's a personal connection there. And I know that I've already bought all of his stuff, so I'm not going to buy it again. I'm already in all of his things.
He insisted on it.
And I bought everybody else. I bought other people his. That's not the thing that I'm after, and yet the connection. I'll open the email because, well, what's he going to say, or maybe I don't even realize that it's a promotional email, but I just open it. But I think that connection, that's the same thing like with what, it's part of the reason why Gary Vee has such a strong audience, because he's doing the texting, he's doing the email, all that stuff, but he's one that has his face plastered everywhere. I mean, he is his brand.
Everything I've read still insists or touts email marketing as still being the number one platform for communicating, marketing with your audience or prospects or sales, and that's not to take away from SMS, which I'm like I said, I'm warming to the idea, but it's that I think any of these tools, messenger bots or whatever, are not a replacement for email. It's just every channel has their method, and as Brett said, like when I have a quick question for him, it is text or Facebook Messenger is like how I communicate.
Depending on if you're already in Facebook or not.
You're right, and the lesson there is like we all have preferred mediums for communication, and email is becoming. Gatsby, buddy, you're killing us. Is becoming. I think it's just because everything's at eye level for him.
It's just
Yeah.
Sneezes.
Email is becoming a more like formal method of communication, which is silly because like letters are more formal still. Yeah. Put your sandwich in your stomach. But like it is like you don't open an email. Rarely do I open an email to send someone who I have a personal connection with. Like, hey, what do you guys want for lunch today? Yeah. That'd have been a silly way to get that message across, right? So it depends on the nature of what we're communicating. And that's okay. It's not good or bad. It's just like the evolution of like where email has gotten to. Whereas, I don't know when you guys were first introduced to email, but like when I was like 11 and 12-year-old, like on my AOL address, I would email my cousins, like just to catch up. And it was like, hey, how was camp? It was like one sentence emails. Like that was how we like got a message back and forth because we didn't need to tie up a phone line, and like the messenger, like the ease of communication was a novelty at that point. That's no longer the case for email. It serves a more strategic function. And so it's just a matter of like recognizing these different channels probably work best in like symbiosis, right? Like they each should serve to complement one another and to support the same version of the message. So maybe you email your login credentials and then you follow up with a text. What do you think of that? Or did you hear a reminder it's starting soon? So like I think there's probably truth to all of it.
Sure.
And figuring out the role they're going to play is going to dictate the the selection of
well, I think
tools.
that's important, kind of what we were talking about before, well, what I was talking about to the camera before, because nobody else was here for it.
Right.
A lot of times we go to the conferences, we read something online, watch some video, and then we get this idea that that's what it's supposed to be like,
Yeah.
and forget that we exist in the context of who we're talking to, who else is in the room, and who's speaking to us. So like you go to SuccessCon, those are marketers speaking to consumers, obviously, to users of software, but they're marketers who are by definition and by nature 7 to 10 years ahead in terms of what they consider to be like the next big thing. Whereas the bulk of people are like just now starting to achieve, like mass acceptance of whatever the thing is that we were doing. So we talk about email still being,
Now.
So email, I think, is still probably still is the most like the most. What's the word I'm looking for? The best.
Yeah.
But that's just because everybody else, all the people we're actually selling to, are behind where our minds are. We're thinking forward. You know what I mean? So I fall into this victim. I fall victim to this all the time. Greg calls me out. I find new tools and I want to try new things every 12 minutes or so. Like I'm always this new thing. Like I got a whole series of things that I am just aching to talk about that I won't because it's insane. But the problem is, like, just because I want to experience this new thing in this new way doesn't mean that it actually makes sense to anybody else that it's actually going to affect. And so being able to see yourself in the context of what am I trying to accomplish? What is somebody else going to try and get out of this? And how can I, normalize everything for what's actually happening around me and not like, that's part of the reason why I don't usually go to conferences.
There's a quote I keep circling back to, sorry to cut you off, which I think sort of embodies Brett Martineau, or should be tattooed on you somewhere, is like, focus on what is necessary over what is possible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've heard you say that in the migration video.
Yeah.
Double time.
Focus on what is necessary over what is possible. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which is just like, I don't know, being in small business, being in technology, the rate at which stuff evolves, it's new trails and paths are emerging all the time. And I can't count the number of softwares or tools that have come and gone. And so it's a matter of like, you need to pick and choose which ones you're going to explore, which ones you're going to fully invest in, or which ones you're going to be like, I'm going to sit this one out, and maybe I'll miss one, or maybe I won't. And there is a rhyme and reason, and you get better at it over time. We've talked a little about this concept as well. It's like, how do I, with an infinitely expanding like landscape of tools and resources, like how do I choose which ones to test? Because it can be overwhelming, right? And you have to the truth, as it always is somewhere in the middle. So you have to find the balance. And you have to figure out like, who do I trust that is like leading the charge in my space, or has similar businesses or industries, or I informally treat Brett as sort of a technology scout. He's going to go like down these rabbit holes, and he'll come back and be like, "Yeah, don't do that one." Yeah, so
And it's true because it is what I said about context too. Because personally, that's like if I'm doing that all the time, I'm a happy man because I love getting in and seeing how things would work and really playing out the conversation of if this works, okay, for 10 people. What if we got 100 people on it? What if we got 5,000 people on it? But like with my clients, I'm the exact opposite. I'm like, stop trying to do things. Like, calm down. You're trying to do too much. You're trying to automate too much. You're trying to make too many things happen. Just do what you can do. First of all, use what you already have, because you're probably not.
Right.
Second of all, do what you have to do.
No.
And then move into some of these other pieces. But yeah, you have to. That's why you have to be like intentional and understand the context, like where you sit, where other people sit, what actually makes a difference, and then, if you got 98% completion rate on a form, probably okay.
Well, that goes back to like, what deserves your effort and energy, and like, where can you move the needle most quickly? And yeah, you might get 100%, but like, at what volume of effort will it take to switch and migrate and like to figure that out for such a marginal,
just
improvement?
Call the 2%.
Yeah, or right. Don't overlook like perhaps there's a different way to bridge that gap that doesn't require the like heavy lifting of moving the tools.
That's such a good point too. So often we spend
totally
so much
skip that.
energy trying to close 2%. When if we just did something simple like pick up the phone and call them, it's totally. We had people. We set up a survey, and we were trying to survey a bunch of people to get feedback on design changes we should make for another version. This was I was working with a client, and like what types of things they would be interested in to for the next version, all this stuff. And we built out this whole like complicated, ask them these questions and those questions and like rate these things, and then we'll just see based on their answers to these questions, that'll indicate that they're this versus that. And it turned out it was like 50 people, and if we'd have just called them, it would have taken us half as much time, and we would have gotten better data anyway. You know what I mean? It's like, that's one. Since then, I'm always like, can you just call these people? Because if you can't, just do that. That's going to be better than anything else you could do.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Great point. This is all actually answering my next dilemma.
Oh, what was the second bullet point, or the second?
The second thing I wanted to jam with you guys on is when you're in a learning environment, in like taking some video courses and things.
Sure.
Do you prefer these super short videos that you just kind of toggle to the next one, or do you prefer a longer video with video bookmarks? And so it's kind of like the what's necessary versus possible. So I think I think like just listening to you guys go on and on about all these issues and really hearing where the customer is at and what's necessary versus possible is making me realize that we need to keep it as it is, migrate everything over, keep it as it is, and then take one of our courses and test the other method with just one course. So bam. Okay, thank you.
Do you guys have an instinct on that?
Yeah, do you have an instinct on user
On
experience?
long versus short?
Or actually, not even instinct. Do you have data on, have you seen, like longer modules with chapters? Like, hey, here's this video, and then like, I'm filling in the gaps. But like, at minute 3, we talk about this. At minute 7, we talk about this. At minute 11, we talk about this, and like kind of breaking it down. Or 3 to 5 minute videos in like rapid succession. Am I describing that right?
So it's like so imagine a 45-minute video with like little quick links that say, tap here for this section, tap here for this section, and that bring you to that section in that longer video. Or like the shorter 3, 4, 2, 7-minute videos that are kind of inside of that little sub menu that you just pull up.
Yeah.
And when I've talked to customers, they're like, as long as when I log out and I log back in, I
know where I'm at.
Same place, that's fine. And so I'm like, okay, we got that covered. No worries.
Yeah, I mean that's my instinct is that I don't have any hard data. I do know that there is some data. It's not totally relevant because it's public YouTube videos, but I know that there's a threshold where less than, I think it's 4 minutes and 30 seconds, like too short of a video, and you get no retention and you get no, like nobody actually wants to watch it because it's too short. So there's like a psychological something trigger that it's like
this
there's
won't
nothing
be valuable.
There's nothing there, right? Whereas then the same, to a lesser extent, but the same thing is true when you get beyond like 37 minutes or something, or it's too long. Same thing, like I can't sit through this. Unless it's, the thing is, that then reverses if it's like an accepted like brand authority.
Yeah.
Like nobody expects to go watch Joe Rogan episodes and not sit there for 4 hours.
Right.
Same thing with like if they're going to watch the Gary Vee stuff, they know they're going to sit there for a little while. But so I think there's something in the middle. Although we have seen, from a sales perspective, from Koenig's, I don't remember the exact numbers, but they got a significant increase in overall conversions doing exactly that. When they did their webinar replays, he would have, it wasn't part of the video, like tap, but down below, it was timestamps and then what happened.
Yeah.
Timestamp what happened, timestamp what happened. And they said, when we first came
those
on,
pages did really well.
They did really well.
Sales?
So,
The sales
yeah.
Yeah.
Is he the Webinar Jam guy?
no, that's
Andy Jenkins.
Andy Jenkins, yeah.
There's he has a partner, Mike something.
Phil Same.
Michael Same, yeah.
How do I know Mike Koenig's?
He partnered with them.
He
he did a lot
was
of stuff with the
the-
webinar jam guys, and
And he's the
you everywhere now. Is
You Everywhere Now. They're like the
his
manufactured
brand.
authority. His big thing
yeah.
was become an Amazon bestseller in a weekend.
Okay.
Like he was, he had it wasn't manufactured authority. It was
What, his product?
no, like
What?
just the way
The
he
book thing
his
felt
thing
a lot
that he
like
taught.
buying followers on Instagram.
It wa-
the
it
Amazon
was.
version.
All
It
of
was.
it kind of was.
I'm not saying
But yeah,
it's
he's
not-
like a-
not a smart thing to try.
Yeah, right.
I am.
Smart guy. I think he was part of.
I'll sign off on that.
Appreciate your
Yeah.
honesty.
I'll leave it. I don't want to say it's on camera on the internet,
just
but
not saying it.
Yeah.
What if he's one of our 5 subscribers?
What's up, Mike?
he was my client for like a year and a half. So.
My anecdotal evidence suggests that shorter videos, maybe not 2 minutes, but like 5 to 8 minutes are more like bingeable.
Yeah.
Going back,
we got.
yeah, That is what it is currently.
That would be great if I didn't have to make any changes.
So that's the direction I have been trending with my courses. When I first started MonkeyPod, I was coming out of Infusionsoft University, and Infusionsoft University was presentations that were 2 hour to an hour to 2 hour like long. And so the way I recorded a course was like an hour and a half long video, and I did 3 of them. My CB Trilogy course was 3 90-minute episodes, because that was how a presentation worked to me. And it was like only because of the cumbersome nature of large video files that I ended up cutting it into 3, which is, I've done some improvements over time, but that particular course is still 3 chapters. Each chapter is 3 30-minute segments. And, to give you some context, I then created the LCM course, and then the e-commerce course, and the referral pod course, and finally the starter kit course. And hey, the courses have gotten more modularized, the videos have gotten shorter, and I've seen consumption go up. I feel like people enjoy them more and will watch more of them. I also feel like as a course creator, it allows me to be crystal clear in this module. This is the goal from here to here. Whereas in a big module, you're like, all right, we're going to go from here to here to here to here to here and then to there, right? Which just gets a little convoluted and a little overwhelming. This course, Tribe, that I'm going through with Stu has really short videos. And yesterday is a perfect example. Sarah had gotten home and we were like going to go take Athby to the park. And I was like, cool, I'm in this like section which had 10 videos. And I was like, I had 3 videos left. And I was like, all right, so I'll watch one more and one more. And one more. And we ended up going to the park 25 minutes later, but if I had a 30-minute video to watch, I would have easily saved that to come back to. But 3 7-minute videos or whatever it was, I was like, well, I'll just crank. Yeah, I can do one more. And so it sets your user up for the bingeable kind of concept.
Like an episode of...
I mean, my favorite product in the world is Masterclass, and just how they do those. And they have they're not all the same, some of the kind of intro ones will be maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes, or if they're introducing a topic, it'll be 6 minutes. And then kind of when they get into it, that one might be 12 minutes, or they might have one that's 23 minutes. So they kind of just change up the length a lot, which I like, because I can look next and be like, oh, they're getting into some longer ones. I'll come back later. But if I look at it, I'm like,
well, I wonder
a couple 8-minute ones.
I would imagine they have enough data to make that decision on purpose, where
yes,
it's
I would too.
This type of video is going to require a little bit more of your attention, and I have to take you through A, B, C before I can even introduce D, E, F, and it needs to be in the same session, sort of thing. So I think it would make a lot of sense where shorter videos are just what's the outcome? What do we want to have happen because you watch this video? Is it just you saw it, good, check it off, and that's the goal?
And I also don't think it's manufactured on their part. I think they're like, let's record this. Oh, that's how long it is? We only have 2 minutes? Great, make it 2 minutes. We don't need to make all these 10-minute videos that are just dead on. It's just let's just make it however long to accomplish the goal. And it doesn't, we don't need fluff. We don't
what
need
do we need
stuff.
to accomplish whatever the goal is?
Whatever it is, all right, let's make it 6 minutes. It doesn't matter.
And now Josh can write like Aaron Sorkin, play basketball like Steph Curry.
Mastered all
write a song like DJ.
Took
Here he is wasting lunch with us.
I can walk on the moon
and act like Samuel Jackson.
Yeah.
So that's good too.
That's brilliant. That's hilarious.
I don't have a preference really. I've watched classes in both ways, and the thing that annoys me about classes these days is, and this happens to me very regularly, is when I start one, it and I know it's required in a way, but I'm hoping in the future it's not. There's so much of, I just sat through a 3-minute video and I go, yeah, I knew all that. Or everything is built to the lowest common denominator of a person who's just starting.
I get that.
And I'm just I just wasted literally the first 3 chapters that I already knew from peripheral learning.
You know what?
There's
if there was some assessment to tell you
have you
where
ever
to
seen
pick
there's an
up.
app, Owl something. It's a language learning app for your phone.
Okay. The owl that yells at you to remember. I know Duolingo.
Duolingo, yes.
Oh, Duolingo.
It's an owl. Owl is the that's the logo. So I'm thinking owl's name.
He's the same guy who tells you how many licks it takes to get started.
Exactly. Same dude.
Just evolved.
It's like the Sprint guy who's now with whatever Verizon. Same sort of thing.
I think it's the other way around.
Or whatever.
That was a very generational reference. Yeah.
That's what they do. They have an assessment thing you take at the very beginning where it says how much of this do you want to pass out of, and in fact, I think they do it by level.
Cool.
Yeah,
Where you say, does this seem like elementary to you? You can take you can test out of this level and then go to the next one. And it's basically just, let me ask you the questions we're going to ask you at the end, and if you get them right, then you move forward. You know what I mean? So just so that
Cool way to do it.
you feel.
Yeah. But that exists also on like a module by module level. I find, and this is true a little bit for the tribe course that I'm going through, but for a lot of courses, it's like the beginning of this module recaps what they just finished talking about. And it's like, if you watch them in quick succession, you're like, God, let's move on.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you take a big break in between, it can be really useful. So I don't know how to solve that because I see why they do it.
Like it's kind of like what happened last
Previously on.
Yeah. They need the little Apple TV skip intro.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right into
Oh.
Yeah.
Skip intro and double playback or quadruple playback.
Yeah.
If it's really bad.
Yeah.
Go really fast. I think isn't quadruple playback fast forward.
Yeah. Just on a totally unrelated note, I've thought for a while about the idea of most people don't watch live TV anymore. A lot of people don't watch live TV anymore, with the exception of sports. But oftentimes we'll like record something and then watch it and fast forward through the commercials. And there's only 2, 4, and 8x or whatever it is to fast forward. Would it be possible to build a commercial that also makes sense when condensed to those? So that frame by frame, like if you're watching it fast forward, it like stitches together some other scene or story or like Easter egg. Yeah, it's like how cool would that be to build a commercial that makes sense at each of those speeds as you?
That would be wild. Because it would have to make sense if you watch it regular. If
Yeah.
you watch it fast
And you don't
forward.
know where they're gonna stop.
I guess that's the challenge.
Yeah.
Is like you'd have to.
And there's so many different ways to fast forward.
Right.
There's so
You
many
just
different
design it
things.
frame by frame. I think you could do it. You just have to know.
Brett's gonna waste weeks on this.
I really do not think it could be done.
No, it's crazy though. No, there's some.
Frames?
Yeah.
Huh?
What if I only want
Or Apple TV with just 10 seconds. Skip.
Well, if you're gonna mess it up with your Apple TV,
But that's but
you just
that's
what you
the thing.
gotta do.
Who would you design
I'm
it
on
for?
to you. You're
What
better than
fast
this.
forward speed?
You're better than this.
You would have to design it for both. It's be like an Easter egg.
That's
So
it.
it would just be the 8x time, the 8x speed.
Oh, okay.
Down.
You know what I mean?
That's what you're saying.
Or you know what would be even better? I say better because it's more doable. You make it so that
He's getting worse.
it
as
only
he
makes
gets
sense
older.
at 8x speed. So it's like what
You're getting worse.
is happening here, and then they fast forward it, and then it actually makes sense.
Oh, I feel like maybe we should wrap up.
We can wrap it up. I gotta eat my sandwich, so
Well,
You must
Yeah.
be really hungry.
I'm good.
yeah, Gatsby is.
Yeah, Gatsby's been chewing at my the wrapping.
So thanks for playing along. This is sort of how it works. Is we let the discussion evolve as it does. I appreciate you being willing to roll with it, and hopefully it was valuable. Do you guys have anything you want to add?
I don't know. I kind of feel like on this gloomy day I need some music therapy. So if you have any after we cut here, if you have any,
Get the
song
tambourine out.
dance,
Yeah.
If we're gonna do music therapy, I'm leaving this thing rolling.
But yeah, no, it's cool talking.
Cool.
Yep.
Brett, you want to give us a sign off here?
Yeah, I gotta get my face in the frame because it.
Have you been out? He does this all the time. He hides off,
No,
off
Gatsby
frame.
kicked it, so it
Cats are
turns more your way.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks everybody for joining. Hopefully we'll get another subscriber from this. We'll see you all back. I think we're gonna get back into our regular rhythm as well. I know it's been like 3 months since we've done this, but we're gonna get back into it and have a good time. Thanks everybody for joining. Peace out.
Peace.